What's going on, everyone? My name's Amek. I'm coming to you with another video, this time from my car. I meant to bring headphones. I guess I grabbed them, but I didn't. They just vanished. So I guess I don't have them. But I'm gonna make this video on my phone anyway. So yeah, it's whatever. But I have to get some thoughts out about a topic that I've been thinking about, and it's like a side topic that you don't realize it, but it very well might be contributing to the depression or the suffering in ways that you would have never anticipated until you realize it, basically. So when you're hitting puberty, you kind of get like this burst of meaning, right, in your life. So life does have meaning when you're around 11, 12, 13, whatever. So the thing about it is, and the reason for this is, your brain starts to develop abstract ways of thinking. So before, it can't think in abstract ways, but right around puberty is when you get this spike. And so ancestrally, as a male, they would take you, in the tribes, we'll say it, way back when, they would go and show the male like how to hunt and stuff, around that age. And that's the reason why 11, 12, 13-year-olds are like obsessed with Fortnite, because it's like a simulated kiddish version of what they would have been doing in the past anyway. And so you tap into the brains of this kind of ancestral ways of thinking, and you're gonna get billions of dollars like that game. So but women, obviously not quite exactly the same, but pretty much the same, which is they would just go and teach them how to pick berries or whatever the fuck, basically how to support and stuff like that, which is why in a lot of video games women play support, and they really like MMOs where they can just heal people and stuff like that, because it simulates that part of their brain that we need to have gotten tapped into way back when. But the thing is as you grow older, you kind of fall out of this. Once you pass all this shit, you're out of high school, long out of high school, we'll say 17, 16 plus, you're not in the mental state that you were in around when you started this kind of stuff. So for me, for example, it was Call of Duty or whatever, right? But the way you felt about the game, about whatever you do, to tap into these primal urges, which if you think about it, everything people do, even as adults, is really just simulated versions of things that they would have done in the past time. Even just the idea of government and currency, it's all simulated. Everything is just virtual versions of things that would have existed physically back in the day. So the thing is, it's just the way that you feel at that time, though, you really feel like your life has meaning and stuff. Not even that, but it feels like what you're doing is meaningful. And now, if I go do that same thing, it has almost it's not even a lesser effect. It has nowhere near, it doesn't replicate that effect any longer. It's that meaning has been taken from me, from natural selection, because suddenly it becomes not about personal survival, but it becomes about genetic survival. When you get older, it's okay, how can I pass on my genes? It's there's this layer of your brain that overwrites everything else. And since, it's even worse for males, because genetic survival and personal survival are even less coupled. So they're decoupled in that sense, where you can only focus on one. They're not the same. Because for a male, genetic survival is often providing for others. Everything is about giving you to like giving parts of what you have to things outside of you. So the sperm, what you have to offer, your finances, like all your stability, support. Whereas the woman is all about, nurturing and protecting and whatever the fuck, So it's just different roles. It's not that personal survival and genetic survival are directly coupled in the female. It's just that it is more coupled, and that they can fulfill their genetic, what their DNA wants, while still somewhat gaining personally, right? They get personal gain, right? The government helps them, the male helps them. Like, personal gain is still there. With the male, it's not the same at all. So pretty much any investment into your genes, DNA, means you will be worse off. That's just how it goes. In the exchange, your brain kind of gives you a little bit of meaning for that. Like, people mostly have kids because they're fucking bored. They won't say that, but that's the truth. Because life kind of loses its meaning it had around when you hit puberty. Those things that felt meaningful no longer do, because now it's all about your genetic code. And they made sure natural selection had to design it this way, because otherwise the species couldn't have survived. So there's like a layer in your brain that kind of overrides anything that comes down to, let me just focus on me as an adult. It's sort of punished. Like, your brain doesn't like that. Your brain wants you to invest into your offspring. That's basically what it wants. So the conclusion here, though, and the thing that I've been thinking about is, like, what you want to do. And one of my favorite YouTubers talked about this. It basically goes along the lines of, like, you kind of have to somehow think back, look at it like you're at war with your brain. That's what you have to do. Look at it like you're at war with your brain, and think about the fact that you want to get back that meaning you had when you were hitting puberty or around that time. You want to get that back. You could be 40, but it's kind of like how when you're a child there's no problems, but when you're an adult suddenly there's problems. You want to, if you could, at least, if there was a way to warp your brain in a way where you could feel the way you felt back then that would be the ideal scenario, because clearly this is suffering. So I think maybe not even try to replicate that, but look at the types of things that made you feel the way you felt back then. Look for attributes and things that contributed to that, and think of how you can replicate them in your day-to-day life, and think of ways to do this that does not involve anything to do with raising children or starting a family or romance. Okay? So yes, you're a female and you want to invest into the things that you felt around that time, which may have been ancestrally picking berries for the tribe, or fixing stuff up at camp, or nowadays playing some MMO video game, or I don't know, what else do they get involved with around middle school? They start to flourish, really, because it's all about social networks, and so they just develop a social network in an insane manner that, so maybe that's what you should do as a female. Go and try to develop your social network in a way that you would have when you were in middle school. And I think the effect that this has on your brain is so overwhelmingly positive, because we're so used to overthinking, and we're so used to wondering, well, what else is there? But really, is we know what was there, we lived it at one point, and again, it's the same thing for the male. It's like, go back to whatever you did around that time. So for me, it would have been playing simulated shooters. But it's not that. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is look at the way you felt and look at the reasons why you did that, and try to replicate those in your brain, even if it means a task outside of that. Obviously, I'm not telling everyone to go play video games or go piss off, with stupid, or just, I'm not telling people to just go brain dead, develop your social circle. Like, it's almost impossible to develop your social circle in the same way as a middle schooler, as an adult. But the thing is, if you could just get your mindset into the same mindset you had, I think this would solve a lot of the problems we have nowadays with suffering. But yeah, I don't know if I'm wording this 100%, but basically, just know that as we age, a lot of things that would keep the human being happy are stripped away from us because of the genetic code. And so, any way to triumph this issue would be very useful to modern humans, as or if you try to just focus on yourself nowadays, it does seem like your brain punishes you for that. So you want to tap back into that part of your brain that gave you meaning at one point in time, but has been overridden, and just see the effect it has, because I'm personally almost positive that it'll be a positive thing for you. So sorry for the audio, and I'm actually showing up to where I need to be now, so I'm going to end this video. Hopefully next time I will have headphones, or I'll just be back at the house making a video. But I just had this idea and felt it was important to share while it's fresh in my head, while I have energy. I didn't want to squander this energy. Perhaps there's ways I could have explained it better, but anyway, any thoughts on this topic, go ahead and leave below, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.